You guys. I'm literally still processing what happened 3 days ago. Like, I'm talking to my therapist about this. My roommate, who I trusted with my life, brought home the one person who absolutely destroyed me 6 months ago. And what I did next. Even I can't believe I went there. This is going to sound completely unhinged, but I promise you, by the end of this story, you're going to understand why I had no choice. We're talking about the ultimate betrayal, best friend and ex-boyfriend level betrayal. Before we get into this absolute chaos, please hit that subscribe button because honestly, after this story, I might have to go into witness protection. Also, trigger warning, this gets pretty intense with emotional manipulation, lies, cheating, and some, let's call it strategic revenge. I'm going to tell you this story in chapters because trust me, every single detail matters. Each chapter gets more insane than the last. So grab your snacks, get comfortable, and let me tell you about the night that changed everything. Oh, and just so you know, by the end of this, both of them got exactly what they deserved. Okay, let's dive into chapter 1. Okay, so let me paint you the picture of what my life looked like before this all went to hell. I'm a junior in college, living in this cute little 2-bedroom apartment with my roommate Sarah. And when I say Sarah and I were close, I mean close. We're talking ride or die level friendship here. We know each other's Netflix passwords, we share clothes, we've seen each other at our absolute worst. She's the person I called crying at 2 a.m. She's the one who held my hair back when I was throwing up from stress. We painted each other's nails while talking about our dreams and fears. Sarah was literally the sister I never had. We had matching friendship bracelets, yes, at 20 years old, don't judge me. We planned to be each other's maid of honor. We even talked about living together after college. This wasn't just a roommate situation, this was my person. Now, my ex, let's call him Jake, this man put me through absolute hell for almost 2 years. And Sarah witnessed all of it. She watched me completely lose myself in this relationship. I'm talking about the kind of toxic relationship where I stopped hanging out with my friends, changed my major to match his interests, and started dressing differently because he made subtle comments about my style. Classic manipulation that you don't realize is happening until you're drowning in it. The breakup was brutal. He told me, and I quote, "You're too clingy and honestly kind of boring. I need someone more exciting." This was after I had literally planned my entire future around this man. I was looking at graduate programs in his city, you guys. And Sarah? Sarah was furious at him. She's the one who made me delete his number, block him on everything, and literally threw away his hoodie that I kept sleeping in. She would go on these rants about how he was toxic and manipulative and how I deserved so much better. She hated this man for what he did to me. Or at least, that's what I thought. Chapter 2 is where things start getting interesting. Fast forward 6 months from the breakup. I'm finally doing better, like, actually better. I'm dating again, nothing serious, but I'm putting myself out there. My confidence is back, my grades are up, I'm reconnecting with friends I had abandoned during the Jake era. Life is genuinely good. Last Friday night, I'm at the library until 11 p.m. working on this massive research paper that's due Monday. You know how it is, procrastination hits different in college. Sarah had texted me earlier saying she was having a quiet night in, which usually meant Netflix, face masks, and probably ordering way too much Chinese food. I get to our apartment around 11:30 p.m., completely exhausted, just ready to collapse into bed. But as I'm walking up to our door, I can hear music playing inside. Not loud, but definitely not quiet night in music. I'm thinking maybe she decided to invite a few people over last minute, which is totally fine. I dig out my keys, but as I'm putting the key in the lock, I hear this laugh coming from inside our apartment. And you guys, you know how sometimes you hear a sound and your entire body just knows? Like, every single cell recognizes it even before your brain catches up? I stood there in our hallway for probably 30 seconds, key halfway in the lock, just frozen. Because I knew that laugh. I knew it like I knew my own heartbeat. It was Jake. My hands literally started shaking. I'm standing there thinking, there's no way. There's absolutely no way Sarah would do this to me. But I knew what I heard. So I take this deep breath and I open the door as quietly as possible. The voices are coming from our living room. Sarah's voice, my best friend's voice, mixed with his. They're talking and laughing, and I can hear The Office playing in the background. The Office, you guys. The show that Sarah and I binged together after my breakup because she said it would help me reclaim it from Jake. I'm standing in our little entryway, and I can see them through the doorway into the living room. They're on my couch, the couch I picked out and paid for with my summer job money, and they're sitting close. Like, inappropriately close. Jake has his arm around her shoulders. I'm watching this scene, and my brain just short-circuits. Because this is the same man who told me I was boring. The same man who made me feel like I wasn't enough. And here he is, in my home, with my best friend, looking completely comfortable and happy. That's when I realized I had a choice to make. And the choice I made? Well, that's where chapter 3 gets really interesting. So I'm standing in my own entryway, watching my best friend cuddle with my ex-boyfriend, and I have two options. Option 1, turn around, leave, maybe sleep in my car, and deal with this tomorrow like a mature adult. Option 2, walk in there and face this disaster head-on. 6 months ago, I would have chosen option 1. Old me would have run away, cried in my car, and maybe never even brought it up. But new me? The me who had spent months rebuilding herself after Jake? New me was not having it. I walked into that living room like I owned the place, which, by the way, I literally do since my name's on the lease. The look on their faces when I appeared in the doorway was absolutely priceless. Sarah went completely white. Like, I've never seen someone lose color that fast in real life. Jake just sat there with his mouth hanging open like a fish out of water. And me? I was surprisingly calm. Scary calm. I walked over and sat down in the armchair across from them, made myself comfortable in my own living room. I looked directly at them and said, "Oh hey Jake. Funny seeing you here." "Sarah, I thought you said you were having a quiet night in?" The silence in that room was deafening. You could have heard a pin drop. Sarah immediately starts stammering, Jake just stopped by to talk. We were just catching up as friends. It's really not what it looks like." And Jake, the audacity of this man, he goes, "Hey, good to see you. You look really good." Like we're casual acquaintances who haven't spoken in a while. So I lean back in my chair and I'm like, interesting. So how long has this been going on? And they both start talking at once, which was my first clue that they were lying through their teeth. Sarah's like, "Nothing's going on. We're just friends." And Jake's like, "We ran into each other at the coffee shop on campus yesterday." But here's the thing about liars, they always over-explain everything. Sarah launches into this elaborate story about how she was getting coffee before her psychology class, and Jake happened to be there, and they just started talking, and he mentioned missing our old friend group, so she felt bad and invited him over to hang out platonically. Except I know Sarah's schedule by heart. She doesn't have psychology on Fridays. And I know Jake doesn't drink coffee, he's always been pretentious about only drinking tea. These were amateur lies, and they were insulting my intelligence. But I didn't call them out yet. Instead, I did something that completely changed the game. And that is where chapter 4 gets absolutely wild. So I'm sitting there, watching these two people lie to my face in my apartment, and something just clicked in my brain. Instead of calling them out on their obvious lies, I decided to do a little investigative work. I pulled out my phone and opened Instagram. Not saying a word, just started scrolling through Jake's profile. The room got so uncomfortable because they could see what I was doing, but they didn't know what I was looking for. Sarah and Jake are exchanging these panicked looks, and Jake actually tries to make conversation. So how have your classes been? But I just held up my hand like, give me a minute, and kept scrolling. And then I found it. 3 weeks ago, Jake posted an Instagram story from that same coffee shop Sarah mentioned. 3 weeks ago, you guys. Not yesterday like they claimed 3 weeks ago. And guess whose reflection I can clearly see in the window behind him? Sarah. My best friend Sarah, who had apparently been secretly hanging out with my ex-boyfriend for almost a month and somehow forgot to mention it during our daily conversations. But wait, it gets so much better. I kept scrolling, and it was like I had found a treasure trove of evidence. 2 weeks ago, Jake posts a story from this trendy restaurant downtown. That same night, Sarah posted a story from her girls' night out at the exact same restaurant. A week ago, Jake posts from this hiking trail about an hour outside the city. And what do you know? Sarah's story from that same day shows her car parked at the exact same trailhead. She told me she was going hiking alone to clear her head. They had been actually dating for at least 3 weeks, maybe longer. While Sarah was comforting me about my breakup, while she was telling me I deserved better, while she was helping me block him on social media, she was secretly seeing him behind my back. So I looked up from my phone, made direct eye contact with both of them, and said, you know, it's interesting how you two have been showing up in a lot of the same places lately. The look of absolute panic on Sarah's face told me everything I needed to know. Sarah starts stuttering, what do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about. Those are just coincidences. But Jake, and this is where it gets really juicy, Jake actually looked relieved. Like he was tired of keeping the secret. He turns to Sarah and goes, maybe we should just tell her. And Sarah immediately snaps at him, Jake, what are you doing? We agreed to dash, but then she catches herself and stops talking. That's when Jake dropped the bomb that changed everything. And what he said next? That's chapter 5, and trust me, you are not ready for this level of betrayal. Jake looks directly at me and says, look, we didn't want to hurt you, but Sarah and I have been seeing each other for a few weeks now. We didn't plan for it to happen, but we have real feelings for each other. Sarah immediately turns to him with this look of pure horror, Jake, what are you doing? We talked about this. But Jake keeps going, like he's relieved to finally get it off his chest. He says, we've been trying to figure out the right way to tell you. We know the timing isn't ideal, but we really care about each other, and we think you deserve to know the truth. And I'm sitting there thinking, the audacity. The absolute audacity of these two people. But here's where old me and new me really diverge. Old me would have started crying, probably begged Sarah to choose our friendship over him, maybe even tried to win Jake back because clearly I wasn't good enough if he preferred my best friend. But new me? New me looked at these two people who had betrayed me in the worst possible way, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to give them exactly what they deserve. But I'm going to be smart about it. So I stood up from my chair, and I said, you know what? You're absolutely right. You guys are perfect for each other. And you should have seen the relief wash over both their faces, like they thought I was just going to roll over and accept this betrayal. Then I said, Sarah, since you're clearly moving on to better things, I assume you'll want to move out so you and Jake can have your space and build your relationship properly? And Sarah's like, oh, I hadn't really thought about the logistics yet. So I'm like, no problem at all. Since Jake told me I was boring and you clearly agree otherwise, why would you be dating him? I'd hate for you to have to live with someone so uninteresting. I'll help you pack this weekend. The room got very quiet very quickly. Because suddenly they realized what Sarah moving out actually meant: losing her security deposit, finding a new place mid-semester, breaking our lease, potential credit damage. Reality was hitting them fast. But I wasn't done. I told them I was exhausted and needed to go to bed, but they should feel free to catch up and make their plans. As I'm walking toward my bedroom, I turned back with this innocent smile. Oh, Jake? Just a heads up for future sleepovers, Sarah has this really weird thing about morning breath. Like, really weird about it. Just thought you should know since you'll be spending more time together. Sarah's face went bright red because that's completely made up, but now Jake's going to be paranoid about it every single morning. It was just a little psychological gift to get things started. But that was just the warm-up. The real revenge? That's what Chapter 6 is all about, and it's absolutely diabolical. Okay, so I went to my room, but obviously I couldn't sleep. My mind was racing with everything that had just happened. But then I remembered something that was about to make this situation so much more interesting. I texted my friend Emma. You guys remember Emma? She's the one Jake had a massive crush on before he started dating me. I sent her a simple message: "Hey, I know this is random, but Jake and Sarah are dating now. Thought you should know in case you run into them around campus." Now, I knew Emma would have opinions about this. Emma was there when Jake used to constantly talk about how he was settling for me because he couldn't get her attention. Emma also knew exactly how Jake treated me during our entire relationship. Emma immediately calls me back, and she is livid. But then she tells me something that changes everything. She says, "You're not going to believe this, but Jake has been sliding into my DMs for the past month, trying to hang out with me." I'm like, "What? What do you mean?" And she starts sending me screenshots. You guys, this man has been messaging Emma while he was getting together with Sarah, trying to ask her out for coffee, telling her how much he missed talking to her and how he felt like we never really connected the way he hoped. So not only was Jake dating my best friend behind my back, but he was also trying to cheat on her with Emma before they were even officially together. It was like Christmas morning for my petty revenge heart. I could have sent these screenshots to Sarah immediately and ended everything right there. But that would have been too easy, too clean. I decided to wait for the perfect moment to maximum impact. That perfect moment came Sunday night. Sarah had been staying at Jake's place most of the weekend, which, by the way, was super awkward since we still lived together, but she came back to get close for the week. She's trying to act like everything is normal, asking me about my weekend, making small talk about her classes. But then she sits down on the couch and gets all serious. She says, "Look, I know this whole situation is awkward, but I really hope we can still be friends. Jake and I didn't mean for this to happen, but we're really happy together, and I'd hate to lose our friendship over a guy." She's sitting there, in my apartment, wearing a necklace I had never seen before, clearly a gift from Jake, telling me about how happy they are together. After lying to me for a month. After betraying our entire friendship. And she wants us to still be friends. That's when I snapped. I pulled out my phone, opened Emma's screenshots, and I slid it across the coffee table to her. I didn't say a single word, just watched her face as she read through Jake's messages to Emma. You guys, watching someone's entire world crumble in real time is both satisfying and horrible. Her face went through confusion, realization, hurt, anger, and embarrassment in about 30 seconds. She looks up at me with tears starting to form and asks, "When did Emma send you these?" And I said, very calmly, "Saturday morning. Right after I told her you two were dating." But here's the best part in the screenshots: Jake calls Sarah a rebound and says he's just having fun until something better comes along. Sound familiar? It's the exact same thing he said about me to his friends when we were dating. Sarah just started sobbing. Not pretty crying like ugly, mascara running, can't breathe sobbing. And for about 2 seconds, I almost felt bad. Because despite everything, she had been my friend. But then I remembered all those nights she held me while I cried about Jake, all while planning to date him herself. I remembered her lying to my face 3 days earlier. I remembered her sitting there minutes before telling me how happy they were. So I told her everything I knew. The coffee shop, the restaurant, the hiking trail, all of it. I told her that Jake was already trying to cheat on her before they were even official. I told her that I knew she'd been lying to me for a month. And you want to know what she said? She said it was my fault. She said I was too dramatic about the breakup and it made Jake realize he'd dodged a bullet. She said they bonded over how exhausting I was during the relationship. That's when I realized this wasn't my friend anymore. This was someone who had been judging me, talking about me behind my back, and betraying me while pretending to support me. I told her she had 48 hours to get out of my apartment. I told her she could keep Jake and his wandering eye, but she couldn't keep pretending to be my friend. I said if she really thought I was so dramatic and exhausting, she'd probably be much happier living somewhere else. She tried to argue, tried to turn it back on me, but I just went to my room and locked the door. I could hear her on the phone with Jake, crying and yelling, but I put in my noise-canceling headphones and ignored all of it. This morning I woke up to boxes in the living room and a note saying she'd be back tonight with a moving truck. No apology, no acknowledgement of what she did wrong, just logistics. But here's the really satisfying part: Emma posted on her Instagram story last night. It was another screenshot of Jake texting her again, this time complaining about relationship drama and asking if she wanted to get drinks to talk about it. Emma's caption was just the vomiting emoji and men are trash. So not only did Sarah find out Jake was trying to cheat, but now it's public knowledge because Emma has like 2,000 followers and half of them go to our school. Jake's reputation is officially destroyed, and Sarah gets to deal with dating someone everyone now knows is a serial cheater. They both got exactly what they deserved: each other. Two people who think it's okay to lie, manipulate, and betray the people who care about them. They're going to make each other absolutely miserable, and honestly, I can't wait to watch it happen from my drama-free apartment. And that, my friends, is how you handle betrayal with strategy instead of tears. Sometimes the best revenge is just giving people exactly what they think they want and watching them realize it's not what they actually need. Let me know in the comments, do you think I went too far, or did they get what they deserved? And please hit that subscribe button because after this level of drama, I definitely need some positive vibes in my life. I'll see you in the next video, hopefully with a much less chaotic story to tell. Although, knowing my life, probably not. Peace out.